Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt
And
Roast.
I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
We are here with our new edition of Big Brother 28 live feed spoilers. And I know earlier this week we were talking about this concept of Waffle Wednesday and thinking, is this going to be as waffly this week? Because it feels like with Kamu on the block, like, why would there need to be any indecision, right?
Yeah, but it seems like there is some indecision going on about whether or not Kamu's actually going to be sent out the door.
Yeah, and I think this is going to lead to some fun, interesting discussions that play out not just this week, but I think really for the next few, because Melody and Mallory in particular have found themselves in this bizarro place where they are in over a barrel because of this
Mhm.
alliance that they agreed to, but they've realized more and more, like especially overnight, this really isn't that great for their game, and that they've basically just been thrown into this to give more insulation for the icons.
Before we get too much more into this, I just want to say thank you to everybody for understanding yesterday that we did not have a video up. My son Felix has been very sick, and now I am very sick. So if I look like something that's been caught in a drain, it's because that's how I feel.
No.
Natural glam. Who is she? I don't know her, but I am here with you guys today. So if I sound sick, it's because I am. But thank you so much, everybody, for your support on this.
Thank you guys so much. And thank you, just being a real trooper here, guys, coming on talking about Big Brother today. Well, hit that subscribe button because we have so much more to get into, not just in this video, because we have another Lala Angela crash out to talk about, but
Mhm.
also more Big Brother all season long. And by subscribing, you make sure you do not miss out on any other coverage, including, by the way, the upcoming The Traitors New Blood that there was a trailer released for earlier this week.
Yeah, it looks really good. We're really excited. Traders is my all-time favorite reality show.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. All right. Well, thank you guys for subscribing. Let's get right into
Hmm.
where things theoretically stand here on Wednesday morning. Like, I feel like, well, there is a lot of indecision, and we'll talk through a lot of that and where it's stemming from. I think when the dust settles, we're probably still in a spot here where if Kamu loses the blockbuster tomorrow night, he's going to be evicted from the game.
Yeah, he is.
And if Angela and Haley are up there together,
Hmm.
Kamu wins the blockbuster. I think once again, Angela's probably going to find a way to stay, but I think the discussions that happen over the next 24, 36 hours, like there is ways to potentially think about the idea of a flip, whether or not it actually materializes, totally different story here.
The thing is that most of the flips that have happened this season are happening because of Dia and Devons, and
Yes.
them losing Angela is not something that they're looking at.
Well, yeah, that's sort of the deal. And when you look at kind of the state of the numbers at this point, where you've got Yash, Taylor, and Lala on one side, that is more of the pro Kamu side at this point. Yash is HOH, so Yash is not voting directly. So you take that number off the board,
Hmm.
they are in a situation where they just need potentially Haley. Haley wins the blockbuster, Haley comes off the block, but then you really need Mallory and Melody to actually come forward and realize, you know what? This FAP thing, it's not really anything that it's either they just completely deviate from their own alliance or they find a way magically to drag Drew and somehow bear it away from D to go and vote on that side.
Yeah, and that feels pretty unlikely.
Yeah, so I think a lot of the tension that's starting to come with the Melody and Mallory versus Drew and Barrett part of this alliance, it comes down to a few different things, starting with just how they handle communication and messaging over the next 24 hours. Because from the Melody and Mallory point of view, they are very much like, all right, you know what? If we're going to do this, if we want to get rid of Kamu, we want to be open about it. We want to have conversations with Yash. We want to try to maintain relationships with Tate. Like they're trying to think long game here because they're sort of like, well, these icons, are they really with us? Like Mallory's never getting over D putting her on the block. And it just feels like they are in their minds expendable. They want to keep their options open. Drew and Barrett, eh.
Yeah, and they're absolutely right. They do need to keep their options open because this is an alliance of convenience right now.
Yeah, it is. And ultimately, where a lot of this ends up going is them sort of coming to this realization yesterday that is, oh, I think they put this alliance together conveniently right around the time of this Diamond Power of Veto so that they have all of this insulation after the fact. They have all these numbers on their side. Obviously, Angela didn't know about the Diamond Power of Veto directly,
Hmm.
but like there were a lot of conversations about there was a way to get them all through this week. So it just feels like now, from their vantage point, they're tag-alongs in a lot of this. And I think some of that stems from conversations that they've had with Yash, where Yash has talked about information spreading, but then also their own history with Drew and D magically finding out information, and Barrett and D magically finding out information that, in theory, they would not be able to know on their own.
Absolutely. These things are coming back to bite them in the you know what.
Yeah, I mean, it even goes all the way back in time to when Devins was HOH earlier this season. And it's like, well, why wasn't Drew in any more? Oh, it might be because Drew has been working with them this entire time.
Yeah, they're completely right in their thinking. It's just, do they have the numbers to really do anything about it right now?
Yeah, and this is where we get into that part where it just feels like they are stuck. Like they are in this situation where they literally just joined this mosh pit, which is maybe one of the more short-lived alliances ever here potentially, but
Hmm.
they recognize if they go against this alliance immediately after forming it, like they look really, really sus. That might put them in a position where they get targeted a whole lot faster than they would have, like if they had never even joined this alliance at all.
Yeah, and the thing is that it is Wednesday, so how much damage control can they really do in these next like 24 or 36 hours? I mean, a lot can change, but
Yeah.
they would really have to do a lot of control on this.
Yeah, and so when it comes to the idea of, okay, well, how seriously are Melody and Mallory actually taking this idea of flipping? We've talked about this here or there. For those of you who don't watch feeds, Melody's version of a cam talk is there's a phone that's in the house and she
Right.
carries it around. She has conversations with her mom. And so she did this last night. And in the midst of this, she actually said, maybe we should keep Kamu. So it is just like, this is not something that's completely out of thin air, that's theoretical. Like she is actually thinking about it despite like all of her frustration towards Kamu, the way that Kamu talks to her. Like
Hmm.
she is trying to put her personal feelings for this guy to the side and focus on what's actually right for her in the game.
Yeah, which is, she's a bigger person than me. If I was having problems with somebody in the game, I would just want them out. But I'm a Pisces, I live in my emotional pool here. But for her, she is looking past how she personally feels about Kamu and is actually looking, is Kamu actually a number for me?
Yeah, and I think this is where she's going to come to the realization today, most likely. Yeah, I'm upset about Drew and Barrett. I feel like they're playing me. She, at one point yesterday, even asked Drew straight up, are you a part of a larger alliance with the Icons before we even formed one with me? He,
Hmm.
kind of danced around it. I think she feels like in her heart, this is a thing, but I still feel like ultimately she was talking through everything yesterday out of real frustration because she put all of her trust in Drew. Like she felt
Hmm.
like Drew was her number one, even more so than Mallory. And she's in this spot now where she's kind of realizing, oh, he's playing a lot of different sides. Is he still playing me? I mean, not knowing like we do. Drew had a cam talk not that long ago where he made it seem like he actually is more loyal to Melody than anybody right now.
Yeah, he has said that to us. And typically, players in the house are not going to have a talk with all of us feeders and
Yes.
lie to us. It's not that usual that that happens. I'm not saying that it's impossible that that
Mhm.
happens, but I don't believe that he was lying to all of us saying that he's more loyal to FAP and to Melody than he is to the icons. I think that that is true. I think that with D especially, like that bridge is burned, and if he had a choice between FAP and D, he's not going to stick with D on that. I
Yeah.
think him dancing around it is the best that he can really do at this point, unless he really just wants to draw the line in the sand, and it's kind of early to do that.
Yeah, it's a tough position for Drew to be in as well, because if he comes clean to Melody about everything in his game from the very, very start, like that's confirmation that he kept all this information from
Right.
her. And like, yeah, he could be like, but that's not true now. Now I'm with you, like sort of like the start of a third act of a romantic comedy, but
Mhm.
this is not a romantic comedy. You're playing for a grand prize. There can only be one winner. Like
Right.
she may not be so inclined to accept that. So he has to try to find a way to be navigable, if you can even say that word properly. Then I mean, he doesn't even realize to the same extent that D is continuing to spiral about him now, like even to
Yep.
the point where Devins is just like, okay, D, slow your roll. I know I've been this guy with you when it comes to Drew, but we've kind of cast our lot here even more now than we did.
Yeah, but Dee's not wrong. Drew is not really with her. Like he still is riding with Devins and
Yeah.
he still likes Angela, but he's not really with Dee anymore.
Well, where I kind of feel like a lot of things could be going based on the events of yesterday, and this is something Mallory has talked about with Melody, where we've also heard between Mallory and Barrett, and just sort of the questioning of what's going on with this alliance,
Mhm.
because Barrett to Mallory kept kind of going on this spiel about it's okay. We're just going to get to the final seven with the icons and then we're going to battle it out. We have the numbers advantage. The icons, they're not really winning that much. And Mallory was just like, hold on a second. Yeah, that face
They're
explains
not
it.
they're not winning that much. Out of this whole group, we have Dee who has had an HOH and we have had Devins that has had an HOH.
Yeah,
And Barrett and Melody and Mallory and Drew have won 0 HOHs. So what are you talking about? They could end up
yes.
back in power again with an HOH and just take out one of their numbers. And now we're down to 3 versus 3. And that's a huge risk to take that far into the game.
This is why Melody and Mallory are like spiraling over some of this because Mallory
Yes.
is a smart, reasonable person. And she's just thinking, this makes no sense. Why would the
No.
icons want to go to Final Seven with us when there's four of us and three of them? And like, regardless of everything else when it comes to competitions or what, it's just like the numbers don't really add up unless the icons think that they have Drew and Barrett.
That's right.
Yeah, and so then they have 5/2. So Mallory then kind of proposes her own plan of sorts to Barrett, and this is what I think her and Melody are gonna probably end up settling on, which is you get rid of Kamu or Haley this week, and then you might very well get rid of the other one next week, and you just whittle down a couple of the numbers, people who you either don't like all that much on a personal level, like Kamu, or somebody like Haley, who is a little bit erratic, who has kind of been under the radar the past couple of days. But I mean, because she's had an on again, off again relationship with Angela, like how
Mhm.
much do you really ever want to trust that?
Yeah, Haley is the tough one because she does have a closer relationship with Angela than Melody. So, I
Yes.
mean, you don't want her there. Kamu, on the other hand, he is somebody that is not working with the icons. For this group, the Melodies and the Mallorys, it actually doesn't make any sense for them to get rid of him.
And that's where I think
And he can win.
that is the thing. I think this is why there's going to be a back and forth on all of this because it is like if you side with Kamu, Kamu can win, Kamu can be a shield for you.
Yeah.
At the same time, are you burning FAP? Are you losing these other allies? Can you get FAP? Like these are the things that I think they're going to go back and forth on over the next little while. I just, unfortunately for them, I just feel like they think that they are in this really weird and flexible position where, yeah, Mallory kind of got Barrett to eventually agree that they can't take Devons to like final seven or some point about that, or at least he was just telling her what she wanted to hear.
Listen, there's still enough numbers in the house that if Melody and Mallory really want to keep Kamu and get rid of some of these icons and start to break it up next week, this is the time to do it. It's not, oh, we'll just wait a couple more weeks. We'll lose Kamu. We'll lose Haley. You're losing numbers on this side of the house. Like, why are you doing this? If you want to get rid of somebody this week, then if you can, just get rid of an Angela or get rid of a Haley who's not going to be working with you.
Yeah, and I think when we also just consider Kamu's competition record here, I think it's fair to
Right.
assume that there's a good chance Kamu's going to win the blockbuster. You're just going to have that insulation regardless.
And the thing with Kamu is that he does think that he's some sort of a mentor to this younger group.
Yes.
So whether or not Mallory or Melody is okay with that, it doesn't matter. He feels like himself that he's like this gatekeeper of all the young minds to be able to mold. And if that keeps them safe and he goes after the icons, great. They can use him.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I think really if Drew and Barrett want to actually legitimately salvage everything, get FAP fully on board, they have to be more flexible. Like they have to lay out more of a specific plan that's in line with some of what Mallory wants or some of, because if they continue to go down this, oh, we'll just go to final 7 with the icons, or oh, maybe we'll take out Devon's before we get, like, that is going to push them more to that side where, and because we've seen all these last minute flips this season, I mean, yeah, like you said, a lot of them have involved D. Maybe they have learned from D and they're going to take matters into their own hands now.
Absolutely. If they can just get out someone like Angela this week, then the icons are down to 2. And that point, they might be able to pull a Drew, probably never a Barrett, but they might be able to pull a Drew because now the numbers aren't there anymore.
Yeah, and like we know from Drew, from his cam talk, he's trying to be a little bit more flexible in his own way. He's just being really, really careful about it.
Right.
Okay, so the other major highlight that we have to get into here is Lala completely crashing out, even though she's actually trying to help Angela in this game. And I both am incredibly frustrated with Lala and at the same time sympathetic towards her. Here is just a sample of what has transpired here, where Lala wants Angela to stay because despite wanting her out at the start of the game, like she cares about Angela and
Yes.
she thinks in her head, what's the best way to make sure Angela is okay? I need everybody to think that she's not working with D. She's not working with D, right? So I can just go to her publicly and have a confrontation and be like, Angela, are you working with D? And it's so highly uncomfortable how all this plays out. There's people being like, okay, Angela, you don't have to answer this. You know, of course, like Angela eventually leaves, cries, gets upset. Like Taylor is just losing her mind because Lala is just out here completely oblivious as to anything going on in the house.
Man, I really hope that they end up asking Taylor to come back another season because she's so smart. And I feel like if she wasn't working with Lala this whole season, that she could have really taken over this game. But she's doing so much damage control over these things that Lala's deciding to do as part of gameplay or whatever it is she's doing.
Yeah.
But it's causing way bigger problems in the house for no reason at this point.
Well, yeah, it reminds me. Okay, let's go back in time here to Big Brother 20 for a moment.
20. Okay. Beep, bop, 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 boop. We are back in time.
It reminds me a little bit of Haley on Big Brother 20, where it felt like she was a reasonably good player, but she had Fessy to deal with a lot of the time.
Yes.
And it's just like when you have really bad allies, it constantly stifles your game. And Lala is trying to defend herself last night, trying to lay out all of her thinking, why she's doing this. You know, other people are trying to tell her. Yash is saying, you know, oh, I'm hearing Angela's crying and upset. You guys got to talk this out. And Lala's just like, well, what did I do? Why am I always the problem? And here's where I sympathize with Lala a little bit, is that she's trying to play the game and the only way that she knows how. Yes, she has done a lot of it to herself because she's not really actively having enough game conversations. She thinks that like other things she does around the house are strategy in her own way. But also Taylor, Yash, like they get so frustrated with her that they don't want to tell her anything. Like they literally said last night, okay, we're not telling Lala anything anymore. And like, that's a sad position to be in.
Lala reminds me of all my aunties. For those of you who don't know, like my background is Guyanese. My mom was born in Guyana, and so were some of my aunties. They all came over to Canada a little later in life. And they're very blunt like this as well, that if something, they feel that something is going to help or they feel like something needs to be said, they are just going to say it. There is no sugar on anything. They're really here thinking that they're out here helping, and they are trying to help, or they're trying to get to some sort of conclusion that is going to help things overall. But my aunties wouldn't be very good in this game either for that reason. Like all of us in the family, I mean, we're all kind of like that. So we get it when, the group of them are all showing up and they're all like, hey, this, that, this, that, this, that. You might end up in tears. But in the end of it, you're kind of thinking, well, we know that their intentions aren't bad.
Yeah, it proposes its ultimate dilemma, like I guess for Taylor, where it is like she knows that Lala's intentions are bad. I think she
Right.
probably also knows I could 100% beat this person if I take her to the end of the game.
Yes,
But how do you go that far with someone like Lala who is potentially going to blow up your spot at any given moment because you don't know what she is going to say?
that's right.
But that's where we are with this edition of Big Brother 28 live feed spoilers. We will see everything else that Waffle Wednesday has in store for us. What do you
Hmm.
guys want to see today? Do you think that Melody and Mallory could actually flip on FAP, keep Kamu this week if they have a choice? Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
support, and we will see you here next time.